I think that maybe the way he talks to you is horrible. He's very aggressive. And in that sense, it's horrible. It sucks.
It's crazy because she's got a whole lot to say about someone else's husband and how that person's husband is a horrible person and etc. etc. But what about your relationship? What about your husband? And to be honest with you, does she walk around judging everyone else's character because maybe she's not happy within her own marriage? Maybe she's projecting. Maybe she tries to have a voice for Libby because she doesn't have a voice in her own marriage. Now that is where things get interesting. So let's continue.
I think he can be a dick, and I'm telling you that. Remember everything I said, but for me to say somebody's a horrible person, that's like not in me to say that. I don't even know what the happened.
Andre was a dick and she flipped out. That's what happened.
You know, I understand there's a big difference between somebody being horrible and somebody being a dick. Okay, there is definitely a big difference between the two, right? Because obviously if you're saying someone has just been a dick, you're just saying that, hey, this person, what they did in this situation is not cool and they've been a dick in this situation. When you say someone's horrible, you are generalizing saying that generally speaking, they are a horrible person. So I can understand that point needing to be cleared up, but it doesn't change the fact that Alex and Lauren were talking, you know, obviously smack about Andre when he wasn't there, purely because they like to get themselves involved in other people's business. But either way, though, they're hypocrites and we're about to find out.
I think he can be really not nice, and I think that he can belittle you and to look more macho. And
I mean, can Andre belittle Libby to look more macho? I mean, I wouldn't say he does it to look more. Actually, probably does do it to look more macho. I mean, yeah, he does do that 100%. No one's denying that in any shape or form. But let's continue because, I do generally feel like Lauren's actions are a product of her projecting her own relationship.
I don't think that's right. To look more macho, and I don't think that's right. So, like, I don't
Anything
think
that Alex has ever put you through, I would never, in front of somebody, be like, oh, he sucks.
This is where things got interesting because then I was like, hold on a minute, Libby's got some some tea. Now we need to know what this tea is. We got to know what exactly, you know, Alex has been doing. And it's crazy because once Libby has crashes out and just has an outburst, the crazy thing about it is that if I go back to the previous season, certain things make sense now. But boy, yeah, we're getting there. Don't forget, folks, we are doing a live stream later on today, okay? Remember, we do live streams every Monday and every Tuesday. So be there. Come on now.
Lauren, for so many years, I have hated how her husband treats her and the things he said to her, and I've never shared that with anybody.
Yeah, and that house party.
And the reason why you never shared is because you were a respectful person, and respectful people don't share things. It's just that simple.
In my house, you acted like a dick. You did. Here, I can tell you that face to face. And I know.
And a lot of bad things about you. I'm gonna say that right now, but if I need to, I will.
It's crazy because obviously, you know, once Libby was like, listen, your wife has said a lot of bad things about you. And then the moment that Alex is like, I have nothing to hide. Well, I mean, based on the verb of diarrhea that's about to come out of Libby's mouth, you're going to wish that you never said that and she didn't say a single thing. And the thing that I found quite interesting throughout this whole scene is Lauren in the background biting her nails, as you can see here. She was literally going. And the crazy thing about it is that everybody can hear what's going on in the room. And what I found most interesting is that while all of this was happening, Lauren didn't even actually come in and join the conversation, say, no, that didn't happen, didn't even deny none of these things, literally sat there in the back. It's as if she was kind of happy that her husband is now being called out for his BS. It's kind of like, just the way I felt like she was trying to speak up for Libby because she was projecting her own relationship. It's as if she was like happy that Libby's now speaking up for her because she's been afraid to, or she has, but she hasn't been heard. I don't know, but either way, the fact that she didn't say a single thing was quite surprising because remember, Lauren is always vocal. And the fact that she wasn't says a lot.
Right here,
Wait, how you body shame her?
Now let's talk about the body shaming comment. So Libby's saying that Alex has been body shaming Lauren. Now remember last season, the previous happily ever after season, yeah, but obviously they were the one before, wasn't they? In that season, something particular, what did we learn? Lauren ended up doing what? She had a mummy makeover, okay? And something that she's even continued talking about recently anyway, but she had a mummy makeover, and throughout the whole season, Alex and her mum, well, and more Alex than anything else, was talking about how he didn't want her to go through it, you know, that she didn't need to do that, and he loved her the way she was, all that stuff, blah, 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 blah. Well, little did we know, based on this conversation here, this interaction, the real reason she was actually in that position to even do that, if you ask me, is simply because, well, she was clearly feeling body shamed by her husband. That's the real reason probably behind it. Now, fair enough, recently she's talked about having more kids, and then come out to say, no, she's not having any more kids because of a certain surgery, blah, 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 blah. The matter of the fact is, though, if she was to not have any kids again, it's probably because she doesn't want to go through the process of being body shamed by her husband again. Because some women do go through it. Some women, obviously, when they give birth, some women go through a process where they are with the wrong person, and that person does not make them feel good about how they look after giving birth. Bear in mind, she's given birth to three kids, so your body's obviously going to change in the span of three bloody kids, let alone one. Do you know what I mean? But either way, though, I do feel like this really exposes why she had her surgeries personally, because. And also, she spoke a lot last season about how she just wasn't happy with the way she was looking. She felt like she can do better. But clearly, this whole I'm not happy with how I'm looking, I can do better, was purely for Alex's benefit. It was clearly purely so she can stop hearing him say all these negative things to her.
Like bad. What?
He's a horrible man and he's a dick, right? My husband would never talk about my weight.
There we go. Now we're really getting into it. I mean, we've never heard anything about Andre complaining about how Libby looks, so that's quite interesting, to be fair. She's got a very good point. You're saying that my man is a horrible man? What about you? What about you to your wife? What you say is far worse, but that's how Libby views you anyway, and rightly so. So she should. Why shouldn't she?
I know there's like jealousy problems.
Your children, bearing your children, you would never even think to say those.
And let's not forget, in that previous season of Happy Ever After as well, Alex gave, what's the name again? Gave Lauren a hard time for having surgery. No. He gave a hard time after having surgery for not recovering quick enough to be able to look after the kids again. Because remember, he found being a parent for the first time very, very hard. Because obviously he had to take on the responsibilities that she would take on most of the time. While he's out there working, she's at home with the kids, all those things that she'd obviously do, he had to take up, obviously, that responsibility. And to be fair, it means that they take up all the complete capacity of what she would do anyway as a mother anyway, do you know what I mean? But he was moaning about it, complaining about it. So we do know that in that last season, he wasn't exactly the best supportive husband to his wife while she was going through the recovery of her surgery, because he still wanted her to still continue being a full-time mom, you know, so he can go out there and do whatever the hell he does. So I feel like, to be fair, the proof is in the pudding. The dots are adding up, in my opinion. So I don't feel like this is something that was done just for the sake of a storyline. I do feel like there's a lot of truth behind what's being said here, purely because it links up to the previous season. And now that makes that season add up even more. Because really and truly, Lauren was so adamant that she needed surgery. No matter what anybody said, she was really adamant about it, even though the tell-all when she was asked about it, again, very adamant about it, you know what I mean? And even if you go back to the beef between her and Dias obviously called her out, saying that, why do you two walk around as if you're better than the rest of us, as if you two don't have problems? And remember, their whole last season wasn't even based on them having problems per se. It was based on her wanting surgery and Alex not supporting it. And then Alex obviously being unfair to her throughout the recovery. It wasn't really about, just what I'm saying, so it was covering up their real relationship issues rather than really exposing the real relationship issues, you see what I'm saying? So for me personally, if you're looking at all the variables of that season, the terror of that season with the Dias beef, and then also now with Libby, oh boy. And then also the fact that they always had to get involved in other people's business as well is quite interesting. And also there was a part in this season where Lauren did have a conversation with Yara, a little brief one as well regarding her relationship with Alex, but nothing too crazy. And let's be real, Lauren is always looking like she's ready to crash out. She's always looking tired, always looking drained. So to be honest with you, I wouldn't be surprised if it's because of her husband. Food for thought, but I guess it's something that we can definitely talk about way much more later on today in our live stream as well. So please make sure you're there for that. Okay, that'll probably be later on this evening at around about sometime between probably 8 to 9 UK time. You know what I mean? But we'll get there. You see the notification. Well, you probably won't get notification, but I will set a reminder at least an hour before we go live. Okay, folks. So look out for it. If you don't get a notification, then just keep checking my page to see when the hell I've set my thing. Do you see what I'm saying? But anyway, with that being said, though, thank you so much for your time, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and of course, peace.